Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Oh, my goodness. I want to thank everybody that's joining us. I'm seeing a lot of excitement in the comments. For those that don't know, this is Krypton Academy. This is the show where we talk about Superman. I'm your host, DJ Wooldridge. With me, as always, is Sal. Hey, Sal.
What's up?
So what we've been doing, Krypton Academy went to Patreon. It's not done. It's over at patreon.com/onlystupid-answers. And we've been talking about Superman, the animated series, because our original mandate was to go through all the Superman movies leading up to Superman 2025. And we did that. And so we've been doing Retroversity, which has been going through, you guys voted, we're going through the DCEU movies. So we already did Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman. And now that I've said those three out loud, it's funny how inversely, the better or worse the first movie was, the better the next movie. Suicide Squad bad. The Suicide Squad quite good. Wonder Woman good. Wonder Woman 4.
Yeah. Anything that didn't work first got better, and anything that did work first got worse.
It's like this inverse proportionality thing. Anyway,
how weird.
Those are the ones we did. But since we've been doing that, Superman 2025 has now, it's on streaming. You can own it on Blu-ray.
I have a 4K Blu-ray.
That's my birthday list. If anybody wants happy birthday to me. And so this is a good time following our rules with Mutant Academy and Spider-Versity. This was a good opportunity for us to circle back and revisit it. So we are doing a special Krypton Academy of Superman 2025. That is what we're talking about today. I thought I was going to leave this little tidbit as a surprise, but I feel like it'll probably be more appreciated up top, just so people know. With our other Spider-Versity Mutant Academy, this is going to be broken into two parts. So this is part one of our discussion, and part two will be over on patreon.com/onlystupid-answers. And we're going to record that right after. Anybody that's watching this that's a patron or wants to become a patron, you can go join us over there. And I believe I have it set up. Typically, our video tier, where you watch us live on Patreon, is the upper tier, $15. This is going to be on the $5 tier just for today, if anybody wants to hop over to Patreon and join us over there. And then later, the audio of it will be released on Patreon as well, if you want to listen to it as a podcast. So those are all the tids that we're going to bit about that before we get into it. And we're caught up now. So the last time we did a movie in the Krypton Academy was Justice League. So that was what, 2012? Mm-hmm. Is that right?
I don't know. That seems too long ago.
No, that's not right. That can't be right. Hold on. Anyway.
2017.
2017, yeah. Where did I? No, because you had
2012, like a year after Avengers?
No. That was what must have been stacked on my brain was Avengers. All right. So now, Sal, before we get it, we're going to go do what we normally do. We're going to go through the premise of the movie, the whole movie, the plot of the movie. But before we do that, Sal, what are your general feelings? I don't know that we've talked about this a lot on air. We've talked about it a lot personally. What are your thoughts on Superman 2025?
I like it. I was actually surprised because I pulled it up on IMDb to get the summary.
Yeah.
And I saw it sitting at 3.5 stars out of 5.
Oh, dude, yeah. If you pull it up on IMDb, a lot of the Snyder bros coming out, and
but I honestly I assumed that a lot of fake accounts or troll accounts were weeded out over the year.
Yeah.
I guess not. I don't know. I will say that I've been waiting for this. I was excited by it. I was overall happy with it. I think it's a really fun movie. I think it works on a lot of levels. But it does give me pause. I have my, not misgivings, but it's more like having seen it again,
Yeah.
When it came out around the same time as Fantastic Four. I saw Superman the one time, and I was like, this is amazing. I had a great time. It's great, awesome, fun. Corenswet's great. Fantastic casting overall. And then I saw Fantastic Four. Mm-hmm. And then I saw Fantastic Four again, and I had exactly the same amount of joy out of that movie that I did the previous time. Superman did not give me the same level of joy, but I did appreciate what I saw. That being said, I think with every James Gunn movie, there are seams. I like this movie a lot, but there are not problems, but there are seams that I see where I'm like, I don't know if, like, I understand the math behind making James Gunn the head of your studio, because, like, there is no Kevin Feige. You can't grow him in a lab. You know, the reality is, like, there probably are producers who exist who also produced, like, every modern superhero movie, like, during the new Renaissance in the 2000s, but few have the qualifications, experience, and seemingly understanding of quality control that Kevin Feige has. You can't grow him in a lab. So the best thing you can do is take somebody who has, like, a creative vision and an understanding of management and put them in charge.
Yeah.
I think that James Gunn's specificity of style does not lend himself to coming up with an overarching plan for a universe. And I think it's going to be a harder fought uphill battle for him than Feige's was, where Feige had to go, like, pick a fun director or a cheap director, and make them do the thing that the Marvel body says. No problem. This one is like James Gunn. It needs to kind of, you can tell every project that he picks needs to appeal to a sensibility he has. And while I do believe that he loves Superman and gets Superman, and I think this movie does too, there's also just that, like, undercurrent of counterculturalism that, like, James Gunn inhabits that makes him so good at making a Creature Commandos and the Suicide Squad, but makes a crowded Superman movie that maybe people weren't prepared for, and maybe does a nice job of introducing a universe, but doesn't do as swell a job of maintaining as a fully realized Superman movie. This is Superman Plus.
Yeah. It's interesting. So before I get into my thoughts, we do have some stuff in the super chat for people that want to have their comment read on the air. You can do that through super chat. We appreciate everybody that supports this show through Super Chat. That also helps support the show. Being a patron helps support the show. And we really appreciate it. Couldn't do it without you. And that is true. That's just a true. That's not me trying to, like, blow smoke. That's true. So Rideow, hope I pronounced that right, says, looking forward to seeing your thoughts on this one. My non-spoiler opinion is this movie was one of the best JLU two-parters I've ever seen.
It is not. There are way better Justice League Unlimited shows than there are this movie.
Okay, so my opinion is, I'm going to read the comment, but I'm not going to get my opinion just yet. But I will say that I think my opinion of this is rosier than Sal's. Definitely. That said, there are single episodes of JLU that I prefer to this movie, and that's not dissing this movie. That's just how good that show was. Like,
agreed. Yeah, and I think.
What is it? What was it called? It was called it literally just shot out of my brain. But it's the episode with the 7 soldiers. There's an episode that features the 7 soldiers of victory. That's like one of the best DC projects ever. And it's like, oh my god. Anyway.
I think that's what the episode's called.
No, it's something from the Bush era. It's called, like, it uses
like Shock and Awe or something.
Yeah, something like that. And I had it, and then the second I started talking about it, just shot out of my brain. But big going back to the super chat, Big Busta says, this is my favorite comic book movie. It's probably my most watched film in theaters.
Nice.
Bear Farmer. Me coming from Superman, man, that black hole bit was my favorite part. 1 week later, me coming from F4, man, that black hole bit was my favorite part. Bear Farmer just loves his black holes. I will say that's not how neither of those movies, like, that's not how black holes work. But
yeah, but we don't know.
This one's even loosey goosey. It's one of those things we don't know. Sal, in 2025, we know more. Interstellar's come out since so we kind of know. Bear Farmer again. Also, the black hole bit was my favorite part. Every reviewer, the black hole bit sucked. Yeah, black hole bit's not my favorite part of this movie. I'm gonna be honest with you.
No,
the whole. We'll get into it. Sound by Shane. I hope that it's revealed that Jor-El is actually Zod, and that Zod switched the original message so that Kal-El will be raised with this ideology. I have a feeling, gang, that anybody hoping that the Jor-El message is fake or doctor or anything, I think you're gonna be disappointed.
Yeah, we'll talk. We should talk about that, but I don't think we should talk about it now.
No. Patriot Act. That's the episode of Justice League I'm talking about.
Oh, really?
Justice League Unlimited, Patriot Act, which features the 7 Soldiers of Victory. Okay, so my feelings are, like a lot of people, and I was actually kind of appreciative of how sober everybody in our circle seemed to be about. We really enjoyed this movie, but it's not perfect, right?
Yeah.
And I've watched this movie, to Sal's point, Sal and I watched Fantastic Four together, and I enjoyed it. I've watched this movie at least 4 times. Twice in theaters. I've seen Fantastic Four once. I've seen this twice in theaters, twice at home.
Nice.
And I was a little worried because as a little treat to myself, I was tired or whatever. I was like, I'm gonna watch it's streaming on Max. I'm gonna watch it. Yeah. And then we were doing, and that's what made me realize, like, oh shit, we should cover it on the show. And so I was a little trepidatious going into this. I was like, I'm gonna watch it again. It's only been a month, and I enjoyed it just as much. So here's the, and this is very much a me thing. Sure. Okay, so I'm not trying to make some sort of universal statement about the quality of this movie.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised to report to you, Sal, that I've realized I think this occupies a similar spot in my heart that Sam Raimi's original Spider-Man 1 exists in. Now, granted, that has more heat because of nostalgia and the age I was when I watched it. But so using Spider-Man 1 as an example, you could come to me and you could be like, DJ, Green Goblin suit. It's a fun movie, but Green Goblin suit looks stupid.
Yeah.
And I don't like what the changes they made to Mary Jane.
Right.
And Tobey Maguire is good, but Spider-Man's a little too selfish. And I could be like, you know what? I hear all of that, but also I don't care. I don't care.
Right.
And so similarly, as much as there's stuff about this movie that is wobbly and that I could understand if somebody was coming to me and saying like you were just saying, like, it's, you know, maybe a little too stuff, maybe a little too dedicated James Gunn sensibilities. I'd be like, I hear you. And I think I understand your perspective. And also, I don't care.
Exactly. That's
I don't care.
Perfectly valid. Perfectly valid. Yeah.
And it's funny to me how emotional I get watching this movie each time I watch it. Like, dude, why does this and I don't know that I could articulate to you, but it does. And we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into all this stuff. All right, we got more super chat coming in. You guys are coming in hot with this one. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Nick can't snipe. Is that you, Nick? Can you not snipe? What game are you playing? You can't snipe. I was hit or miss. I was better with shotguns and like Halo and stuff like that. Close range was better for me. Sal, do you do first person shooter?
I always do. Yes, I play. I'm playing right now. It's a third person shooter, but I'm doing a lot of Helldivers too.
Oh, okay.
But I am I grew up on FPSs. Like I used to. Yeah, I have a lot of experience with first-person shooters.
I just now realized Sal and I should talk about video games more. You know, I never talk about video games.
It's true. It's true. I don't really play them very often, but when I do, I play them a lot.
Well, you threw out the Helldivers, which makes me think like,
playing a lot of Helldivers.
Sal's into it more than I anticipated.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to get Ghost of Yotai. I'm excited for that.
My wife is playing it, and she loves it.
Yeah, I just replayed Ghost of Tsushima, and I really like that
amazing.
game. It's quite great, quite good. Okay, anyway, Nick can't snipe. I couldn't care less about the Jor-El stuff. Seriously, there are these new Jor-El and Lara fans.
Where are these new Jor-El and Lara fans?
Oh yeah, true. This isn't even the first time we have seen a negative of his parents being not too nice peeps. Oh, we're gonna get into it. Into it. That's another one where people are like, this really bothers me. Like, I get it. I understand.
Yeah.
I don't care. Nat Reeds watched it twice in theaters. I left feeling hopeful both times. As a casual fan, I liked it. Happy to be here with you guys. Happy to have you. Nick can't snipe coming in again. I don't think Clark needs 4 great parents as long as kids are loving, decent human beings. That's it. I love Jonathan Kett in this film. Oh, we're going to get into it.
Yes,
all right. I lost. Where did that go? Where did that? Oh, we got. Hold on.
That's everything.
Got it. All right. When do we click the? All right. Okay. So let's get into it. We open with. We might get into some behind the scenes stuff. What we used to do with Krypton Academy is we had some behind the scenes stuff. I think most of our audience is up to date on it, but everybody will be shocked to learn that there's a few different iterations that had. Oh my God. You know, Superman Return sequel was supposed to have Brainiac, and then it went away, and then Man of Steel happened, and you'll be shocked to learn the Man of Steel sequel is supposed to have Brainiac, and now that's not going to happen. So fingers crossed for Man of Tomorrow that A, it has Brainiac, and B, that it happens.
Right. Yeah, I suspect that Man of Tomorrow will have a title change, and that it will have reshoots, or at the very least it'll have like more scenes added to it in the shooting phase that include a lot more Superman in it, so that it justifies the title Superman Man of Tomorrow. I genuinely think that the studio, if it still exists at its current form, will push back and be like, just make it a Superman sequel. Don't be stupid.
Sal, question for you. I wanted to ask you this before we get into it. Have you caught up on Peacemaker season 2?
Nope, I haven't watched any of it, and I don't think I will. My wife and I have not had time, and every time we sit down to watch something, it never comes up. So I'll just have to have it be spoiled for me because there's no time. There's no time in my life to watch the show.
How currently aware of you are of Peacemaker spoilers? Like
none whatsoever. I don't know.
Oh, well, then I'll keep you clean. I'll keep you clean. I won't ruin it for you here. Although, so people watching will know that Peacemaker season 2 picks up a lot of plot lines from this.
That's cool.
And definitely sets up stuff for Man of Tomorrow that, because Sal hasn't seen it, I'm not going to discuss it here because I don't want to be the one that spoils it for him. Okay, so keep that in mind. We're going to be Superman focused on this one. So we open immediately. We've gone all the way. I was looking at some of past notes. We've gone all the way from the DC Peel logo back to the iconic bullet, the DC bullet, and the Superman, which is their kind of like, they've compared it to their MGM lion. Superman popping in chains from that iconic cover. Yep. Sal, what do you think about the new DC Studios logo?
I mean, I've always been a fan. I mean, it's just the bullet logo.
It's the one
I'm
we grew up with.
I'm like, yes, that's all I've wanted, and it's just it's an excuse to bring it back. Fine by me. I love it. It's even back at a time when we get the DC Marvel crossover, so that we can see the same logos we saw in '96 when it happened the last time. I'm thrilled. It's their best logo. I was actually pretty okay with the most recent previous iteration. I was like, this is good. It's graphic. You can put it on anything. It's got a good mock-up. And you can literally put it on like a thermos, a like YouTube thumbnail, a postage stamp. It works everywhere. The DC Bullet logo is specific and intentional and fun, and it's also kind of like a beautiful homage to everything that came before it. Like that star, the stars that are in it, they're almost always connected with the DC brand in some way. So to get that back is kind of cool. Also, the Superman motion is awesome. I've seen a lot of chatter and a lot of like fan-made work that suggests that they should do that for every hero. Like every hero's movie should have their first iteration be the their version of Superman, like breaking the chains. Like if they make up DCU Batman at any time in the next 20 years or so, it's Detective Comics Batman doing his thing, and Flash vice versa. I don't think they're going to do that.
No,
I don't think they should do that.
Yeah.
Because I think that this movie is very deliberate in its like, this is the first, like Superman was. We don't need to go looking for our flagship like Marvel did, where Marvel's like, the first one we can make is Iron Man. And it turns out to be our flagship. Yeah. No, we get to make a Superman movie. He's the #1 first one, and even though he'll never make $1 billion, it's the kind of iconography you can't buy. Yeah,
100%. And it's one of those, the idea is cool when you think about like, oh yeah, Detective Comics, Batman coming in, like that's, but then once you start going further afield, like, okay, so we're gonna do a Flash movie. So wait, is it Barry's first appearance, or like what? And then we're gonna do if we do another Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle movie. Wait, so it's just gonna be
Ted?
Like what do we do? You know what I mean? No. Keeping it Superman. I like that. I like the Bullet logo coming in. And then we open with we have this snowy landscape, which ever since Superman, the Richard Donner Superman has been Fortress of Solitude. We've associated with Superman. We open with that, and we open with this. It's not an opening crawl; it's opening text that I have here that I'm going to read, and then I'm going to give my thoughts on that. So, 3 centuries ago, the first superpowered beings known as metahumans appeared on Earth, ushering in a new era of gods and monsters. Oh, that's the name of the saga we're in. 3 decades ago, an extraterrestrial baby was sent in a spacecraft to Earth and adopted by Kansas farmers. 3 years ago, a baby now grown, announced himself as Superman, the most powerful metahuman of all. 3 weeks ago, Superman stopped the country of Baravia from invading Jarhanpur, sparking controversy around the world. 3 hours ago, a metahuman called the Hammer of Baravia attacked Superman in the city of Metropolis. 3 minutes ago, Superman lost a battle for the first time. I like this. Here's my one issue.
Yeah.
Is I'm kind of a formalist when it comes to this stuff. We're emphasizing 3 a lot, and there's 6 bullet points here. I would have cut it to 3. 3 of 3. I don't know which ones I would. Okay, here, let's go through it. I probably would have cut 3 centuries ago. Metahumans. We don't need that. We don't need 3 centuries ago. We could do 3 decades ago, an extraterrestrial baby was sent in a spacecraft to Earth and adopted by Kansas farmers. Okay, so now we know, because that tells us our Superman's 30. And then 3 years ago, that baby, grown, announced himself as Superman. And then maybe cut to, okay, maybe this was the only way to do it. And then go to 3 minutes ago, he lost a battle for the first time.
Yeah.
You could 3 hours ago, a metahuman called the Hammer of Baravia attacked Superman in City Metropolis, and Superman lost a battle for the first time. Done.
There we go. That is cleaner. I honestly would not have forced the audience to read. I would have opened it with a spinning newspaper of the Daily Planet.
Yeah.
And had the information that you just imparted on headlines.
Yeah.
Summarized with a narration from Lois.
I like that. The thing I like about this is, to me, it very clearly is trying to evoke, I'm going to call it iconic. It feels iconic to me. The iconic opening of All-Star Superman.
Yeah. Just do that.
That's what I'm thinking. Just do the bullet point, and maybe have the text with it, but have that image.
It should have been a cinematic version of All-Star Superman, where it's we see those things, and you just have the narrator, and the narrator could have been whoever. It could have been Superman. It could have been
Thor. It could have been Lois.
Yeah, I don't care, but it was fine. I was hyped when it happened. I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
But with the benefit of hindsight, I'm like,
well,
and that's the thing, is that's my main issue with the whole movie overall, is just there is a whole Superman movie in here without all the other stuff. There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It's world building, but it isn't very good world building, because it doesn't actually build, it just informs. It's just here's the Justice Gang. Well, who are they? Where'd they come from? What's their story? And what's their goal? Who cares about any of that? None of that will be inherent in this movie. Here is the idea of metahumans having existed for centuries. Will there be any implication of that, or suggestion outside of that one piece of text and the existence of metahumans? No. Superman is battling with the Hammer of Baravia, who also happens to be a double agent, and also we've got Lex Luthor. Great. Superman Lex. That sounds great. But also the engineer from the Authority. Why that specifically? Why couldn't it have just been, I don't know, Mercy? Something that tethers it specifically to the Superman mythos.
Yeah.
Because you needed, I think a lot of people were expecting this to be a Superman movie.
Well, and I think that's the hang up, and I think that's why when I said with a lot of our community we're more sober about it. I think because Superman has so much more baggage, is the wrong word, but expectation tethered.
Yes.
Even more than something like the Fantastic Four, which obviously people have been waiting for a long time. But what they've been waiting for is a good one.
Honestly, the reality is the Tim Story ones were only half bad.
Yeah. But it's so I think Superman has so much more expectation tethered to it, and I think this one very specifically wants to untether Superman from kind of the focus on the man part of
the
it.
Gravitas. They want to make him more accessible.
Yeah, and I think I think this movie does a good job with that. I do think it is. We'll get into it more. I do think it does a lot, and I do think if I were my dream since I was a young man of making a Superman movie, I would have done it. I would have injected a little bit more of the mythic in there.
Yeah,
I think going to we need to focus on Superman the man. I agree with.
That's 100%. What this movie's about, and I completely hear you on that one. That makes perfect sense to me.
Put a little bit for me. I would have put a little bit of the mythic in there too. But that's that's my thing.
Yeah, I would have wanted a little more. And the way to capture the mythic, I think, a way to do that is just in cinematography and showing, not telling. There's a beautiful Jorge Jimenez cover, I believe, or maybe, I think it's Jorge Jimenez, where it's a crowd. The cover is a crowd, looking at Superman, and Superman's shadow is over
I've seen
them.
it. Yeah.
You need that kind of shot.
Yeah,
Like
and
you need some Spielbergian shit in there,
the
where
issue
like
is, dude,
people
don't
looking at
even
him.
tease me with the idea of Spielberg doing a Superman movie. Don't even, dude. Monica and I just watched the latest Jurassic World last night. It's streaming now, and so we watched it, and it was like, Spielberg's real good, man. This is a good reminder of like Spielberg's real good because it's even the same writer. It's still David Koepp. It's the same writer.
Yeah, but he made but David
Spielberg
Koepp is
sauce, baby.
It's funny because like Spielberg makes it look easy.
Yeah, exactly. He makes it look effortless. But we watch any follow up to a Spielberg movie, you're like, truthfully, this is true of James Cameron stuff too, where it's like, that's what they're so good at.
Or Peter Jackson, where it's like you look at Lord of the Rings and you're like, oh. So the formula to make a good sword and sorcerer movie is to have like grounded special effects, good props, and a beautiful location. No.
Yeah.
There's more.
There's more involved. No, but I think to your point, a little bit of that Spielberg sauce. This is very much, like you said, this is very much a James Gunn version of it. And I've said this before. I think the proof in the pudding for DCU will be next year, with the release of Supergirl, Lanterns, and Clayface.
Supergirl's gonna see like that's gonna be a real rubber hits the road kind of situation.
Well, not just for what I'm talking about, which is how can the DCU create an identity outside of James Gunn's very specific interests?
Yes,
but also I think to the point you're making of like, will people show up?
That's always my concern, particularly for DC projects, which is hilarious because, like, in the comics, they're crushing it, and Marvel is just desperately trying to catch up. But in the movies, not so much. But, you know, in fairness, both of them are kind of in trouble. But with respect to the James Gunn of it all, like, James Gunn is... He works best as, like... When the squad shows up, he's the kid in the leather jacket in the corner who showed up late. He's smoking a cigarette, and everyone, like, Captain America's at the podium being like, "We need to make sure we get this going," and like, there's a big threat, and James Gunn's like, "And you can count on me too," like, like, and I'll also bring my very unique brand and flavor of awesome. There's, it's why Guardians works, and this movie works, but only on a technical level. Like, I like it a lot, and I love there's again, character works fantastic, but there's elements where I'm like, why this? Well, keep on going as we'll get into some of those elements. Please.
So we're just at the opening crawl.
I know. Sorry. All right.
No. So we land. Superman's lost the battle for the first time, and this was a big bugaboo for a lot of the Snyder crowd. That supposedly. And we open with Superman crash lands into the snow, and of course, what we're doing, and I like this. I think it's really effective. This Superman's vulnerable, you know what I mean? Which you kind of need for there to be stakes in your story.
That's why The Rock's career is falling. Like, you need you need your protagonist to be able to lose or have the threat of loss. Otherwise, you don't care.
Yes. And so he's crash landed. And of course, we got this in the first trailer. And because the first trailer doesn't end this bit in a joke, it's much... And the trailer was super impactful, and this one it's fun and cute. But he whistles and Krypto shows up. Oh my God, that's right, gang! We got Krypto in a Superman movie finally.
Yep.
God bless James. This is one of those where I can easily say God bless James Gunn, because I don't think any other person making a Superman movie would even dare to attempt this.
No, if they were making a Supergirl movie, they would have had like hard, long conversations about whether they can get rid of Krypto or whether they should like go, yeah, no, Krypto is Supergirl's dog, and you know what? He dies. Like,
And truthfully, if I were doing a Superman movie, I have takes on Krypto, how I think I would make Krypto work. Yeah. I have a great deal of respect that there's not even... No, Krypto's here.
Yes.
There's no... Does it work? Fuck you. Krypto's here.
It's just...
Here, we're going to sell 1 billion toys. Get out of my face about it. And Krypto comes up, and it's somebody... And my lovely dog is right here. It's somebody that has a bad, good dog. I very much relate to... the specificity of, obviously people that followed behind the scenes know that Krypto's based on James Gunn's dog Ozu, but I could infer just from watching the movie that this comes from a person that struggled with a dog just by the inclusion of leave it.
Yeah, they don't understand that word, but it's for you. You're saying it for yourself.
That's a very specific. Anybody that's tried to train a dog, that's a very specific. It's a term you use. And so Krypto comes up and is bouncing on Superman's broken body and takes him. He tells Krypto to take him home. And Krypto takes him to the Fortress of Solitude, where we meet the Superman robots. And at this point, you should fully know we're in full Silver Age mode here, gang. That's what we're doing. And we meet our main Superman robot, voiced by Alan Tudyk, 4. And here's a question I have for you, Sal. Is 4 lying about not having emotions? Because 4's whole bit is like, oh, we don't have emotions. But then he does stuff. Well, one, after he says that, we're happy you're here, Superman. We don't have emotions. This is 12. She's new. And Superman looks at her and she's like, oh, he looked at me. That's an emotion. That's an emotional response.
I think that
have emotions. And then 4 makes passive-aggressive comments that make me think 4 has emotions.
Yeah, I think 4 is either trying to, express that it's important that they don't have emotions. Like, we're robots, we're not supposed to have emotions. So I'm living that way. Or he's like, well, you treat us like we don't have emotions, so I'll just say that out loud. It's but it's James Gunn. This is a James Gunn idea. If anybody else was doing Grant Morrison's, because these are Grant Morrison Superman robots who are basically just Silver Age Superman robots from before. But and even in the post-crisis era, you had Kellex, and Kellex had much less of a personality than Gary here. But James Gunn is like, but if you had robots who could do everything that humans do, but also they don't have emotions, no, they are annoyed. He's saying something about servitude and obligation, and there's something there. Yeah, I think that certainly he would caution you against worrying about it, but I think if you had to analyze it, I'd say yes, he has emotions, but either despite his best efforts to suppress them, or while relying heavily on them, he behaves this way.
Yeah, it's almost like a reverse Data from Star Trek, where he does have emotions, but for some reason he's convinced that he doesn't.
Yes, he's like, no, but I'm a robot. I was built by a
This doesn't offend me. I don't have emotions. Are you sure, Gary? Because you just asked me to call me. You wanted me to call you Gary, which implies
because you have a name. Yeah. No, you have emotions, and you're like. I think maybe he was. The reality is, everyone in this movie goes through an arc. Gary does too. I think Gary doesn't want emotions. He finds out he needs them. Here he has them anyway. And what do I do with that? What's the consequence of that? I have an identity. Gary had no identity beforehand. So, insists he doesn't have emotions. End of the movie. He relies on them, and then chooses a name.
We also have some cameos in the robot voices. Michael Rooker's in here. Pom Klementieff is in here. Those are the 2 main ones that I caught. Also, I think now
Grace Chan is also a robot.
Yeah. I think I should also mention real quick before I forget, and because I definitely will. Go to graveyardshiftcomic.com if you want to support independent art. Listen, we all love our big corporate media, but if you want to support independent art, go to graveyardshiftcomic.com. I think as of this recording, there's only 8 days left to back this comic. It's my comic. It's a horror thriller. It's also fun and irreverent. If you like James Gunn's fun and irreverent stuff, you're going to like Graveyard Shift. It follows a bunch of people working at a fast food restaurant in the overnight shift, and the mascots are going to come to life and attack them while they're being robbed by thieves. And so there's a lot of twists and turns and fun. But yeah, be sure there's only 8 days left. If you want to support independent art, if you want to support me, if you want to support comics in general and get a cool comic yourself, go to graveyardshiftcomic.com. And I also want to mention each month we choose a charity of the month. The charity this month is supportgive.feedingamerica.org. There's a lot of confusion and disorder around SNAP benefits right now. A lot of people are going to be struggling. We're going into the holidays. There's going to be food insecurity. So I recommend going to give.feedingamerica.org, and also check out your local food bank. From what I understand, it is better to obviously donating food to your local food bank is great, but they kind of know what they need. So either ask what they need and get them food that they need, or give them money so they can buy the food that they need to support people in your area. Fredericks in the super chat says, I saw this 7 times in theaters and it wasn't enough for me. DJ's point about Spider-Man 1 is a perfect explanation of how I feel about it. So Superman's injured. They take him to Fortress of Solitude. They hit him with a sun ray so his wounds can heal. He's not 100%, but he's like, I got to get out to this was where I had a moment, and I've completely come on board on it now, but because when I was first watching it, in it, he falls off the sunray and he says golly, and I'm like, ooh, golly. Ooh, golly is what we're doing. Okay.
Yeah,
And then he says, I got to get up to the fray for him. I'm like, oh, okay. And Thor points out, like, wait, Superman, this guy just kicked your ass and you're not 100% yet. And he's like, nope, I'm going. And he leaves Crypto behind for because we're going to build to something there. But take Crypto, dude. You got a dog with the same powers as you. Take the dog. So Superman flies off. We get our Superman logo. That was our introduction to the character. Now we are back in Metropolis, where Superman confronts the Hammer Baravia, who continues to show Superman his ass. He throws him to the ground. This is where we get a bit where Superman's like thrown into the concrete, and we get Molly, a street vendor. I think the full name is Malik Ali, who helps him out of the ground. This is one of those. Every time, Sal, I get like. Where the guy's helping Superman out, and he's like, "You helped us. We're gonna help you." I'm like, "Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Molly, yeah."
I hear you. And I'm there. I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
Yeah. It's just, so we've learned that Lex Luthor is basically controlling the Hammer Baravia behind the scenes. He's got a whole team of people working with him. We don't get a lot of detail with this, but I like what we can infer here, because it does play to the fact that Lex Luthor, who, unlike a lot of the billionaires in our world, doesn't just play at being a genius, is a smart person.
Yes.
That's part of the fantasy here. But also, he can't accomplish what he wants to accomplish on his own. He's got this team of people, but they're not just hired hands. The implication is these people really believe in Lex and what he's doing.
Yeah, which
that's interesting.
I think that's something that wouldn't have happened if this movie was made 20 years earlier.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, there are people who actively vote / like work against their better interests.
Yeah.
And these are they. They really believe in that. I mean, look, they did the exact same thing in Far From Home when Mysterio had a whole team of people who were like, F that high school student in the A, let's kill this guy.
I was going to say the stakes
middle-aged mom from the library being like, to you, F you, Peter Parker. I'm like, you are like 2 years away from just, stealing signs off lawns.
Yes. Yeah. I was gonna push back and be like, well, the stakes are a little lower in Far From Home. I actually don't know that they are.
No,
he
they have like missile
murder
defense.
drones. He has the murder drones attack London.
Yeah.
What a weird movie. Anyway.
What a weird movie.
What a weird movie. So, Lex calls the Hammer Baravia off, and as the Hammer arrives, an engineer arrives. The engineer is following Superman up in the Arctic to like figure out where the Fortress of Solitude is. They all come back, and we get a pullout of Lex's little facility with Luthor Corp. So it's almost like he gets his own little title treatment too. Like
he sure does. You can
Superman
feel like Gunn likes Lex Luthor.
Which, I will be interested. I think Nicholas Hoult is that's one of the things I think this movie anybody's issues about pacing and plotting, I totally understand. Yeah. One of the things I think this movie nails, and I do think this is the important part, is I think the casting and characterization of our core three, Superman, Lois, and Lex, excuse me, is perfect.
Yes.
And I think Nicholas Hoult is perfect in this role, and I think he's well utilized here.
Yeah.
When you talk about how much James Gunn likes Lex, and he's done interviews where he talks about liking Lex, and he's going into Man of Tomorrow, he's talked about the kind of innate almost heroism of Lex. I'm like,
yeah, he's making a movie about Lex. Like he likes Lex a lot. Like
we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, Lex is an interesting character, especially in history.
Yeah.
And like sometimes he's a massive scumbag who's just a genuine supervillain.
Yeah.
And other times, like he's just like, if it weren't, I guess the approach is like Superman wouldn't like him or believe in him for nothing.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
Yeah. I think it'll be interesting to see. It could be so far. James Gunn with the way he's done stuff, I feel pretty confident about Man of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
That said, what Lex represents, when you talk about like, I like Lex is interesting. I'm like, what Lex represents in my brain, like that person's a person I want to see kicked in the dick repeatedly forever. That's what I want. Yeah. Unless they can learn a lesson, maybe they can learn a lesson. But
he can't. He's a Superman villain. It's not. There's, you're not going to do like your last Superman movie with Lex Luthor in Superman power armor helping out.
Yeah. But we do live in a fantasy world where reporting people's like gross misconduct actually impacts their lives, as opposed to our world where it's just
another Tuesday and it never mattered.
Yeah. So maybe we live in a world where Lex can learn a lesson. Although I will say, because of, I told Sal I wouldn't spoil stuff from Peacemaker.
I know he's in it, so it's okay.
Okay, well, they you know some stuff, and stuff.
I saw a picture of him in the show. Like,
it's great. It's a great little. I rewatched after I watched this movie. I watched that bit again. It's like, yeah, Nicholas Hoult's great as Lex Luthor. They set some plot stuff up that connects to some stuff in the comics that connects to Lex and Joker, and it's funny. And I'm just thinking back to the BVS era or Justice League, where I'm like, yeah. Just because I want to see Lex and Joker interact, I guess I'm okay that it's Jesse Eisenberg and Jared Leto's. And now it's like, I'm really interested to see this Lex interact with I want to see the Legion of Doom, Sal. I want it so bad. Anyway. So yeah, Lex gets his little title shot. Clark arrives at the Daily Planet. This is where we meet that cast. Of course, Lois Lane, played by Rachel Brosnahan, and Jimmy Olsen, played by Skylar Gisondo. But we also get Ron Troop is technically there. They name check him, but I'm going to assume that actor's scenes were cut because he's not really in the movie.
No.
But we get what's the sports guy? I always forget his name. Steve Lombard.
Oh, Steve Lombard. Yeah.
Yeah, and Kat, played by Michaela Hoover. And I would 100% watch a Jimmy Olsen show that included the rest of these Daily Planet staffers. I would watch that shit.
There's another one where it was like, if, let's just say you threw out the Justice Gang.
Yeah.
All these characters would have something to do. And instead, they straight up don't. And it's why people cut out Cat Grant and Steve Lombard.
Yeah.
And to a lesser extent, Perry White. Like, why they focus on Lois and maybe Jimmy. And that's it. Because there's usually not enough time, unless you watch any Superman movie made before this one, in which there's nothing but time. And there's just so much wasted space and time in those movies where you could definitely be like, oh, let's explore a fun interaction between like Cat Grant having a crush on Clark and Lois having a problem with that. Or Steve Lombard like torturing Clark in a Peter Parker, Flash Thompson-esque weird relationship. Like, there's something here we could do. And they're like, no, we don't have time, room, or anything like that, but also we're going to put them in the movie. Like, will Pete Ross be in these? Because
oh wow, Pete Ross, I would be very interested in this version's take on Lana Lang. This is the first time ever I've been like, let's throw Lana in there, see how Lois reacts to that.
I really want Lana in these movies because Lana's a really great character or a marginalized character that deserves justice. So let's do it.
Yeah, and because of where Lois and Clark's relationship is in this movie, I'm like, this is the moment you throw in Alana and see how that shakes things up.
Yeah, because she's like, Lois is calling all the shots. Like, she's like, nah, maybe we'll be in a relationship, maybe we won't, blah blah blah. And Clark's like, oh, I'll just go back together with my beautiful high school sweetheart, who is very domestic. And she's like,
wait a second. I should mention, Jimmy Olsen's subplot is not my favorite part of this movie. However,
it's something. I'll take it.
They give Jimmy something to do, and also this is very much in the vein. We learned two main things about Jimmy in the opening sequence.
Yes.
Opening time we meet him. He is Clark's best friend. Perfect. And also he smashes Crazy Tail, like way above his pay grade tail.
Yeah.
And also like, perfect. Also perfect.
Is it wish fulfillment? Is it self-insert, or is it just like a phenomenon that people like live with? I mean, yes, Lord knows.
This is definitely the Jimmy. There's a lot of Jimmys like this, but for modern readers, this is very much the Matt Fraction, Steve Lieber Jimmy. And it's like, just make a show that's that run with Skylar Gisondo as Jimmy. I would watch the shit out of it.
Yeah.
So the other thing I like about this is Steve, like you said, Steve Lombard's kind of a Flash Thompson, kind of like the jocular. Forrest kind of making fun of him as Clark is on the phone with his parents. Mom, Pa Kent, specifically his adopted parents. Played by Pruitt Taylor Vince and Neva Howe. We're going to get into them more later. But what I like about it is he's Steve Lombard specifically making fun of Clark's writing. And so it's a good moment of like, Steve Lombard is that guy, but also there's a reason he has this job.
Right. He still has this job. He earned this job. Like, that's kind of fun.
I think it's an interesting attention to detail. And Lois is even giving Clark a little bit of a hard time. We'll circle back to that in a minute. Put a pin in that if you would. Thank you. Meanwhile, Lex Luthor is stopping by the Pentagon to sell the brass, specifically including Rick Flag Sr., played by Frank Grillo, who is a surprisingly, after this and between Creature Commandos, this and Peacemaker,
it's like
Frank Grillo is like a real central.
Yeah, why is this guy the Nick Fury of your universe? Like, is it just because what? Did they bond over being screwed over by Marvel?
Yeah, maybe. Also, I do kind of like. I have two feelings on this. One, I do like Frank Grillo. Two, I kind of like the idea. It's less apparent here, but by the time you get the Peacemaker, it's like, yeah, what if the Nick Fury in our universe sucked? Like, what if he was like, at least, let's say, a more complicated figure?
Nick wants what's best. This guy, I don't know.
I can tell you in Peacemaker, it's his motivations are much muddier by the end of Peacemaker season 2.
Okay.
But the other part of me does wish it changes the texture a lot because of how commanding this character is. I do kind of wish it was Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. I do wish it was Waller.
But we wasted her like there's that awful post-credit scene from Suicide Squad. Like there's, she's all over the place. We even had a totally different actor player in friggin' Green Lantern. Like, we can't constantly push Amanda Waller in these things.
The other thing is, so part of this pitch, so what Lex Luthor is pitching Planet Watch, which includes Ultraman and the Engineer and his talons, as a way to kind of control metahumans, right? Yes. That's the pitch here. If Waller's in the room, that's a rubber stamp immediately. Boom, we're doing this. Yeah. By having to be a Rick Flag Sr., it's a more complicated conversation.
Yes.
And I also wanted to mention that General Mori is the character that's kind of the main Pentagon, other than Rick Flag. It's this guy, and he's played by an amazing character actor called James Hiroyuki Liao. Great. Yeah. He's in Ghost of Tsushima. He's in a bunch of stuff. He's a great character actor. It's cool to see him here. Okay, so Lex does that pitch. It's like, well, where they settle on is it's 2-1. Can we contain him even if we go after Superman?
Yeah.
And the reason they're going after him is the Baravia thing. We're going to get into that more in a minute. Also, he's popular right now. Right. So it's just too risky. Whether we want to do it or not, it's too risky to do it. We're not going to do it. Okay.
Yep.
So now we cut to Lois in her apartment, and we see that she must live in a sketchy neighborhood because her door has a ton of little locks on it. She has a bat right by the door.
I think it's because she's an investigative reporter, and she's constantly concerned about reprisal.
I think you're right. Sal. I think that's a really good point. And because it always kind of, the way the scene plays is weird to me because it's kind of played like, did somebody break in? Oh, it's Clark. But here's so that's what happens. She grabs her bat. She hears the sound. She grabs her bat, but it's Clark making them dinner.
Yep.
We learn a lot about the relationship very quickly because it's very clear immediately. Clark is way more in than Lois is because one, Lois did not expect him there. Two, he's already making a meal and he makes what he thinks is her favorite dinner, which is breakfast for dinner, but that's what his favorite is.
Right. Yeah.
And so it tells you a lot about where Clark thinks they're more all in than Lois does.
Yes. Yes.
And now we get to my favorite scene in the movie, and it might be my favorite scene in any Superman movie, which is the interview between Clark and Lois. Clark points out that, or Lois points out that Clark's article is him interviewing himself, which is problematic to say the least.
Yeah. And
so he kind of casually is like, well, then why don't you interview me? And she bites him. She's like, wait, you serious? Let's do that right now. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And so they do that. And I love this bit of writing because it does so much. It just does so much. It provides exposition for the Baravia incident. So for people that for some reason are listening to this but haven't watched the movie, go watch the movie. Yeah. There is a country, Baravia, that is in a more advanced country that is invading a less advanced country, Jarhanpur, to claim it. That land's ours now. And the Baravians appear mostly light-skinned and the Jarhanpurians mostly appear Middle Eastern. And Superman intervened. He's the way he says it, like smash some tanks and crash some planes, and nobody was hurt. And I just had a meeting with the president, which involved him flying him to the desert and putting his back against the cactus and saying, hey, you invade this country again, we're gonna have words. And if you're listening to this and you're like, well, that sounds like maybe some stuff I've heard in the news, I'll leave that for you to determine how much that may or may not have informed. He says it didn't inform his writing, and maybe it didn't, but maybe if you see parallels, maybe that's worth exploring on your own, what that means and how Superman would react to that, and how maybe we should, as a nation, should react to that. But anyway, Bravia is an ally of the United States, and Jar Harpur is not. And they do make the point that Jar Harpur has its own issues, and Clark is like, yeah, but that doesn't give Bravia the right to invade them.
Right.
And so it basically does everything that Batman v Superman tried and failed to do.
Yeah, and that was another issue I had with this movie, is just kind of like, we're doing another one of this? And that's like, I understand the impulse behind, we can do it better, or we can address criticisms of previous things by redoing it, but doing it right.
Yeah.
I think the most successful methods are just to do something else. And Superman invading a foreign country is a concept that I just don't want to see on screen. And the concept of like people being turned against Superman because of how powerful he is a concept that I am bored to tears by and done with. And so that was a part of this movie, an element of this movie where I just went, I'll just have to focus on Nathan Fillion for the rest of this, because like I don't want to watch that. Like, I not only is it something that I'm just tired of, but I've seen it already.
Yeah, I think here's where I think I fall on it. I think that it is an idea that is rich for exploration, that every time before this, and I include the comics as well, because I want to say J. Michael Straczynski's Superman Earth 1 deals with similar issues. It really didn't work. Like, it just really didn't. In this one, it felt much more clear-eyed. And I think the reason it does is because of this scene.
Yes.
Clark says, because for one, so on the one hand, as I was saying, it does exposition. It gives us exposition, but it also reminds us more than any other iteration of Lois we've seen doing this show. This Lois is, in fact, a potentially Pulitzer Prize winning reporter. Like, she cares about this job, potentially more than she cares about a relationship with Clark.
Definitely.
So, and it also gives a sense of their relationship to each other. And so she's being very pragmatic reporterly, and Superman's like, I wasn't coming in to represent the United States. I just wanted to do the right thing. I'm representing me. I'm representing doing the right thing. And that felt more, I guess because a lot of the other iterations, it was an attempt to make Superman edgier.
Yes.
And
well,
this
more current.
More current, but this does that in a way that doesn't compromise. No, he's just Superman's trying to do the right thing. It's the rest of the world that's making that stuff complicated. Yes. And even as I say that sentence, I realize why I think we have this comment here in the super chat. Cam says, after all the horrible things going on in the world, they desperately needed this movie to meet the moment, and it did. It made me want to help people. I think to that comment, we're in a time where you'll see something horrific on the news and then be told, well, actually, it's complicated. Actually, no, it's not. And so
it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be. You're making it that way. And I think there's something with Superman of all characters having to deal with, like, I have the ability to actually just do the right thing. And then people are going to come in and fill that space like, well, actually, because of...
Dude, throw a rock, you're going to find somebody who's going to argue with why you can't have basic necessities.
Yeah.
Or just a basic expectation of, like, dignity. And you know what? Like, there's actually a very current representation about this on the national stage about a particular metropolitan area in this area. Where people were very much, and I'm not going to jump on either side about this. I just want to say, like, one of Mamdani's biggest things was like free buses. Yeah. And like people just immediately reacting to anyone who said I'm voting for him by being like, the buses aren't going to be free. And I'm like, that attitude is always going to be the wrong approach because you're always in the way. Like, you're in the way. It's like,
you're the guy walking around like, sorry, we can't actually have nice things. Well, why don't we try at least? Can we try?
Yeah, you're the guy who, you'll never do this.
Yeah.
You're at a bakery. You're going in there for an apple fritter.
Yeah.
There's a big fat guy in the doorway, and he goes, they're out of apple fritters. Are you going to walk around him and check?
Yeah.
Or are you going to take him at his word?
Yeah.
You're always going to check for apple fritters.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
You're always listen, man, let's get that poster up there. You're always going to check for apple fritters. So the other thing that this does is it also shows that Clark, and I guess coming out of the Zack Snyder thing, I just love a movie that really embraced Superman's dorkiness, like but it is not afraid to show that he is a person, and he is flawed to the degree that this conversation, I find this relatable. This conversation isn't going the way he wants. He's frustrated. Especially once they start talking about social media. There's a whole bit with social media and specifically hashtag super shit really bothers him. He gets frustrated and he's like, all right, I'm going to go, which is not the correct response. That's not a good way to end this impasse with your significant other. Yeah. But he's like, I'm just going to bounce. And Lois points out, like, this is what you do. You get frustrated. You just bounce, which I actually think would be a very relatable. If you're Superman, you can just leave. Who's going to stop you? Like,
yeah, at the very least, you could argue that like somebody was in peril.
Yeah, sorry, that'd be so funny.
Oh, here's something, and I wasn't avoiding our conversation. I was just trying to save somebody.
Oh my god, what a shitty way to. That's like a Superman version of like, sorry, there's static on the line. Click.
Yep.
So he bounces. Lois has a little like under her breath, like, I told you this wasn't going to work. Trouble in paradise. Yeah. Meanwhile, Luthor, Ultraman, the engineer, and Eve Tessmacher, who's Lex's girlfriend, show up at the Fortress of Solitude. They have access to it. It comes up to meet them. We're going to find out why that's true later. Although I would argue no real effort was put in the production of this movie or anything to disguise what the mystery around Ultraman is. No. To a refreshing degree, I would say. They're like, we're not going to admit it, but like, we're not going to.
Yeah, but we're not going to like try to pretend. We're not going to get a red herring in there. Third movie with Superman, where Lex Luthor breaks into the Fortress of Solitude.
We love it.
I'm done.
We love it, Sal.
I'm so tired of it. I'm like, he's here again. Like, we love it. Oh no, that's like Spider-Man reacting to Gwen Stacy being back to life. What? It's only happened 18 times, but how about a 19th? Like, just tired of it. It was another thing where I'm like Eve Tessmacher being in the movie at all. At the very least, she had a thing to do, and it was related to Jimmy. I loved that.
I also was definitely Otis. You and I both were like, wait, Eve and Otis?
Get that shit out of here. That was Otis weird.
Is well utilized in this movie.
He was utilized, but I'm like, but he could have been anybody.
Oh, that's true. That's 100%.
Could have been anybody. Doesn't need to be Otis. It's weird that you made that reference, and we don't need it. Like, we're not. This movie is not like a love letter to Christopher Reeve. This is or Dick Donner. This is just James Gunn's mishmash of what he remembers and likes about Superman, which is great, but also like, it's like, you don't need it. You don't need it. Like, it's all it does to me is it rings that you don't believe that you can handle it on your own. Like, constant references to other things says, I don't believe in what I have right here.
You know, I feel a little, I get it in that I do think Richard Donner's, this is going to sound blasphemous, but I do think Richard Donner's Superman has kind of an outsized impact on the broader depiction of the character in media, which if I believe that, which I kind of do, that, you know, maybe that does give me room to do a little bit more praise for Zack Snyder's movie, because they definitely went in a different direction.
That's right. They did something else, which I've always praised. It's just not what I would ever want.
Yeah, exactly. But Greg Weisman, when he was doing Spectacular Spider-Man, he said no character in that show that has the speaking lines, every character will be from the comics. Will be from something. We're not going to invent a new
because there's so many. Like, you can't not.
And so I kind of always respected that. And so to me, this feels like, other than the fact that it's Otis and Eve, that I don't personally have a lot of like attachment to. Those are not if I'm going to pull stuff from the Dick Donner Superman, that's not what I'm pulling.
Yeah, no.
But it could be in that. I do see it could be in that same spirit, and so I don't necessarily dislike that. It didn't annoy me. It did once we got into the movie. It didn't annoy me. Although again, the whole Eve Jimmy subplot isn't my favorite, but it does give Jimmy something to do. So they are in the fortress. Engineer takes out Crypto using a move that she'll later use on Superman, which is she throws her nanites on his face.
The audience did not like that.
Well, I have some. Well,
they were upset.
In writing, in trying to articulate the question I have for you later about that scene, I think I answered my own question. But I've always had questions about, like, wait, what am I supposed to understand? How does Superman get out of Engineer's trap? Like, what is happening? So we'll get into that later. But anyway, so and then she starts hacking into the Kryptonian computer, which of course connects to Superman's message, which I don't think I mentioned. 4 plays a message from Jor-El and Lara that kind of soothes Superman, but there's only half of it because the rest of it's damaged.
Yeah,
and I think I have it's of course Bradley Cooper is playing Jor-El, and I think Angela Serafian plays Lara, who if I say the name you might not be familiar with. You see her face, you're like, oh, you're that lady.
Yeah,
I believe she was in like Westworld and shit. Anyway, so she starts hacking the computer, and then somebody or Eve points out like, wait, what about Superman? And Lex is like, don't worry, I have a distraction. Sal, I have questions about the distraction.
Yes, because
so we cut to Metropolis at night, and Otis and there's the other guy who you don't really hear his name in the movie, but spoilers, it shows up in Peacemaker and they say his name. But I don't. And Happerson released this creature into Metropolis, and it's tiny.
Yep.
So first off, it's night and it's day in the Arctic and night in Metropolis. That might be fine. I don't know how time zones fucking work in the Arctic Circle or whatever. Yeah. So that might be fine. But then later we cut to day and the creature's grown big. Presumably the big version of the creature is the distraction.
Yeah.
So that's presumably the night thing happened before the stuff in the Arctic.
Oh yeah.
And this is happening now to distract Superman so he's not in the Arctic. Except the second this conflict is resolved, Lex is on the news in Metropolis. So I don't understand the timelines. So for people that don't know, my understanding, and I don't know if this has been confirmed, but word on the street was that, out here in Hollywood, was that this movie was originally broken up into days of the week, which you can kind of feel. Oh. There's a few times where it cuts to black. You can feel how that original structuring.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like this is the reason they abandoned that structure, because this bit, if you put the movie in a very strict timeline of like, this is 1 week in the life of Superman, the timeline of this sequence of events here is weird.
Yes. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But if they told
it did not affect me.
If they told you Lex was there Tuesday and now this creature's there Wednesday, and he said this is a distraction, then you might think about it.
Yes, unless it's like, no, he did the thing in the Arctic. Oh, is Superman gonna come? Yeah, tomorrow. I don't know. I didn't even think about it. That's so funny.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, they release a creature. It grows. I actually do like that. The little bit that like it's small. It's gonna get bigger.
Yeah.
And here's something I will say. Something I like about this movie, because a lot about this movie feels like making up for lost time. Listen, Superman's he's going to fight a robot person. He's going to fight a giant monster. All the things you wish Superman had done in the past fucking 8+ movies.
Yep.
He's finally going to do in a movie. Even though it does feel a little stuffed. I will say, so I love the idea of Superman fighting a kaiju. One of my earliest memories, actually. It's not one of my, I don't even think it's one of my favorite, one of the Fleischer shorts, but one of my earliest fucking memories is the Fleischer short where Superman fights the dinosaur.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of wish the kaiju looked more like that. Just as if we're going to call back to shit, that's the shit I'm calling back to.
Yeah.
Anyway,
definitely.
I don't love the design. What I'm trying to say is I don't love the design of the kaiju.
No, I think it's really weird. It's an odd design. It's not, it's fine. I like it. It is very specific and weird, and you know, it's a fun action sequence later, and it's a creature that I did not have any issue with. I was like, that's fine. Yeah, I liked it better. I had hoped that it was the beginning of the menagerie.
Oh yeah, well, Superman had the same hope. Superman had the same hope.
Exactly.
So he's trying to take care of this thing. It's a big save Metropolis sequence, and we also kind of learn about Metropolis that enough of this shit happens.
Yeah,
that the citizenry aren't as. We have people like watching on the news, sipping their coffee. They do stretch that to the limits where there's a little girl just casually crossing the street within striking distance of this monster that Superman has to go save. Where it's a cool sequence. You guys have seen it in the promotional footage. Yeah. It's slow-mo where he grabs the girl and the stuff hits him. It's just when you think about it in the context of the movie, like, what the fuck was going on in this girl's brain?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like there's a new Welcome to Derry show, and one of my biggest hangups with the original I think the actual setup's iconic. The one from the book where Pennywise is in the sewer and he lures Georgie in. Yeah. But the way it's played in the movie with like Pennywise's eyes crossing and he's drooling, it's like, well, if Georgie didn't get by this, he was going to got by something, because his survival instincts were zero.
Non-existent. Yeah, no, that was a little much. Yeah.
There was so many. Pennywise was throwing out so many red flags, and Georgie was oblivious to all of them. This little girl has the same survival instincts as that poor kid. We also see Superman save a squirrel, and I don't know if you remember this, Sal, but I remember there was behind the scene footage of Superman with the squirrel, and everybody's like, is that going to be Chip? Is that going to be the Green Lantern Chip from Green Lantern?
No.
You don't remember that? You don't remember? Well,
I do not remember that. All I remember is people being mad that happened, and I'm like, boy, people are just like, I think that people are just like, there's a line in Preacher where it's a great scene. It's really sad, but a character says something that rubs Jesse the wrong way, and he grabs him, and he scares the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And he says, "Oh hell, partner, I'm not pissed at you. I'm just pissed."
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is everyone right now.
Yes.
And so the second that like something happens that like even slightly disagrees with whatever code they have running in their heads, they're like, "That's the worst. That's the reason I'm so upset." And it's like, Superman saved a squirrel, dude.
Yeah.
Like, get your shit together. It's not like he let a pet store get destroyed, but he saved the stray squirrel.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not one or the other. It and apparently what test audiences didn't like it. I don't remember what it was. I don't remember which one it was.
Like that, but it was one of those. James Gunn talked about it, and he's like, we actually couldn't cut it because of scene structure, because like it's actually a bridge between like Superman's here and now he's over here, and he's like, I'm kind of glad we couldn't cut it because I personally liked it.
It didn't affect me. I saw it and I was like, that's what it's there for.
Yeah, it's cute. It's cute
for you to go and then move on.
And to show how Superman cares about stuff. To me, it's one of those things that for me, it's a little too cute. But also I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? Like enough of this movie works for me, and is not just works. That's underselling it.
Yeah.
Is meaningful to me. You know what I mean? As somebody that is stuff I've wanted to see in a Superman movie my entire life. That it's like when it goes a little bit too much, like whatever, man. I'm not gonna get bent out of shape about this shit.
No, I couldn't be bothered to care.
Yeah. So while he's fighting this kaiju, the Justice Gang shows up, which includes Guy Gardner, played by Nathan Fillion, a Hawkgirl, played by Isabel Merced, and Mr. Terrific, played by Eddie Gathigi. And it's funny because people are like, oh, the movie's over stuff, and you're not wrong. And I knew there was concerns about it with the announcement. I expressed concerns about because I think the second casting announcement was Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner. I'm like, in our fucking Superman movie, what are we doing? But I do appreciate what we are doing, because what the Justice Gang exists to do is as a contrast for Superman, because they basically come in and they abuse the shit out of this monster and then they kill it, basically.
Yeah, I hate it. Yeah, it's the exact opposite of my feeling about saving squirrels and dogs.
Yes.
I hate it, and I guess that's the point. And I hope it is.
Yeah, because Superman says, he's like, I was hoping we could take it. It's an interesting line, actually, because it shows that Superman is not against, if push comes to shove, I can put this thing down. But he's like, I was either hoping we could get it out of here, maybe study it, or at least euthanize it less painfully. Yeah. And they're like, get out of here, you nerd.
Yeah, you're a nerd. We're the lamest Justice League that ever existed.
Yes.
I didn't like the scene after that because it was just gross and weird, and I was like, this is sad. This is just sad and weird. But you're supposed to feel that way, so it's like, yeah, okay. And it's like, I guess that's the message. If you're gonna make a movie that has 6 or 7 superheroes in it, make a that's called Superman, and not Superman and the Legion of Superheroes.
Yeah.
Then I guess illustrate that they need him to set an example.
Yeah. We'll probably talk about the Justice Gang more later. We're going to get to a big reveal here, and I think this is a good time to end part 1. As I told you guys at the top of the episode, this is going to be part 1 of our 2-part discussion. I kind of figured this was going to be a bigger one with the way Sal and I normally go.
Yep.
And so we're going to split this into 2 parts. This part is going to live on my personal channel, where you're finding it now live. Part 2 is on patreon.com/onlystupidanswers, where you can watch Sal and I do Krypton. You can listen to our Krypton, those live at a higher tier. However, part 2, which is going to go live just after this, is on Patreon, but it's going to be on the lower tier. Normally be on the upper tier. now it's going to be on the lower tier to give access to more people that want to join us. If you're already a patron, you can just head on over there. The link's already up. But I want to thank everybody that joined us. I want to thank everybody that participated in the super chat, because, you know, Patreon and stuff like super chat helps support Sal and I doing this. So I really appreciate that. Sal, remind the kids at home where they can find you.
Come on by youtube.com/comicpop to check out our flagship show Back Issues, or if you like these kind of podcasty stuff, go to youtube.com/comicpopreturns, where you can check out all of our more casual, chatty, podcasty type videos.
Check that shit out, please, and thank you. Thank you everybody that joined us over here. Thank you everybody that supports this channel. Also, if you didn't know, I have a podcast network, Only Stupid Answers. You can check that out. Sal's on there sometimes too, so check that out. And we will see you all next time, or if you're going over to Patreon, patreon.com/onlystupidanswers. We'll see you right over there. Bye, everybody.